Kurt, I think I know the answer to this question already, but have you ever picked up your phone for one specific thing and then 20 minutes later you're doom scrolling your way through to watching a random guy restore a 1950s toaster?
That's very specific, Ben, you
It is
know?
very specific.
But, I don't know if it's been the 1950s toaster, but maybe at least a 1970s toaster, and the thing is you don't even like, if you asked me, "How did you get there, Kurt?" It's like, "Well, I went from looking up, like how to eat, healthy foods to somebody saying, sandwiches to toasting your bread for and you don't even know. You don't remember how you got there,
Yeah, it's just automatic and fast.
and fast. Yeah. And so we think, right? I mean, this is something you and I think, everybody out there thinks, that we're choosing to go and look for this, and we're using our phone for something, and that we're in control, that I have control of my attention and where it goes. But that's not the case, is it?
Not really. I mean, you're not just using your phone. Your phone is providing fast feedback and actually shaping how you then leverage and use your time. It's impacting and changing your environment as you use it.
Yeah, and the phone is engineered against us, and it's not the phone per se, it's the social media apps on the phone, it's the way that Netflix is designed, it's the all of those types of things.
Well, with that, welcome to Behavior Shift, the podcast that helps you understand your behavior and try to make it better and hopefully look at less toaster adjustment videos.
19 f yeah, and guy fixing up a 1950s toaster, unless that's what you wanted to go out and look for, then that's really appropriate.
As
No, I
long as it's
think this
intentional.
is yeah, as long as it's intentional. I mean, we've had a couple episodes where we're talking about intentionality, and I think that's important, but, yeah, this idea, I think we just wanna explore, like, why? Why is it that we get sucked into doom scrolling, that we get sucked into, binge watching our favorite, or not even our favorite show. It might be a horrible show, but you just still binge watch it, right? It's all of these pieces that lead to us not in control of our time, and kind of this whole element of where it's reshaping our brain, reshaping a whole bunch of things that's become the norm. It becomes like, "Oh, I'm a little bit bored. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna pick up the phone, I'm gonna start scrolling, and then, oh, I'm now 30 minutes later, and I'm haven't done anything." So let's get into some of the reasons why.
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's two overarching elements here, right? There's the intrinsic behavioral elements that drive us to engage in these things and then become addicted and continue that behavior. And then on the flip side of the coin, there's the apps and the tools that are actively designing to get your behavior to engage in those things, right? So you're fighting your own natural tendencies and the tools are designed to make it harder to do so.
So we know from motivation research, right? Variable rewards are more powerful than your everyday rewards. This goes back like to the 1930s and 40s with rat experiments and getting rats through, mazes, etc. But this idea that if you offer up a variable reward, that you don't get it every time, that all right, if I'm a rat and I hit the lever, if I don't get that reward every time, I actually hit that lever more and faster than and continue to hit that lever longer than if I got that food pellet or that sugar drink every single time. Um, and
It's the slot
social
machine effect, right? I
it's
mean,
this
it's you're waiting for that ding, 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 ding. You don't know when it's gonna happen, but when it does, it causes a big emotional rush.
you get
But if it
dopamine. You get
happened
it.
every 30 seconds or every minute and you could predict it, all of a sudden it's less exciting.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. And social media is, by its nature, the way that when we're scrolling through, there are components of it that give us more of a variable reward. Boring, boring, boring. Oh, cool. you know, um, social media posts, like you post something and you're waiting and nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. Oh, somebody liked it, you know? So there's that aspect of it. I I heard, um, and I don't have like the research behind this, but we'll state it here. But that short form video is one of the most dopamine releasing kind of components that we have. So we have our brains are wired for those short form, their narrative, their stories. That's kind of how we've interacted and evolved. And that because of that very nature and the dopamine release that we get from short form videos. So think, you know, uh, TikTok, think, Instagram, that they're very addictive.
Hmm. So we're fighting addictive short form video combined with variable rewards that we're not necessarily scrolling for specific content. We're being triggered by the possibility of that dopamine hit from that one thing that triggers us, that one video that becomes a possibility. It's something good that we're looking for.
Yeah. And there's FOMO, right? There's this fear of missing out. Like, oh, what if that next video is the one that's gonna change my life? What if that next, post is going to be whatever it is? So, there's a whole bunch of components when we think about it that are just the way we're designed as humans that social media taps into, whether by design or just because of the very nature of the way that social media works. It taps into those components that are going to pull us into a 20, 30, 40-minute doom scrolling kinda component or binge watching my different thing. So,
So what keeps us from stopping, right? We get a couple dopamine hits. We know we're doing it, right? Most of us, I think, are aware of it. Maybe not everybody. Maybe I'm being overly, optimistic in saying most of us know it, but I think a lot of people are aware that they're doing it, whether they like it or not. Why do we infinitely scroll? Why don't we stop? What's the reason that it just keeps us going?
on social media, I mean, when you think about that, they don't have an endpoint, right? You don't, like, scroll to the bottom of the page and then gotta click to the next page. There's an infinite loop, right? It's like keeps going, keeps going. It's Netflix. And next episode, 5, 4, 3, 2. I don't have to click on the next episode. I don't have to get out. We're not putting in those moments to reflect and to review, to cue that this is a stop, this is an ending point. Maybe I could go and do something else.
Yeah. So there's intentionally no friction within these environments to make you pause, just take that one or two deep breaths where you can say, "Oh, I can do something else," or "I should go do something else," or the Netflix scenario, it's you don't have to choose to watch the next episode. It's not like changing the channel to find something else. It's actually just saying, "Here, this is going to happen. You have to choose not to let it happen," right?
It's a status quo bias that we've talked about, right? This idea that, all right, we're there. It's popping up. It's the default. Um, and the other thing about this, and I think you talked at the very beginning. So, what is the financial incentive
Mm.
for a social media platform or for Netflix? Like, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get us to stay on their platform, right? That's how they measure their success. That's what they're incentivized to get people to do. It's how they build their, the advertising revenue or whatever that would be. So the success metric is how long do you stay?
Yeah, I mean, it's incentivizing. They're not incentivized for you to leave the platform, right? So the longer you're on the platform, the more impressions that they can make on paid advertisers, the more impressions on advertisers, the more they make in revenue. So, whatever ways that they can get you hooked and stay longer is really how they're making their revenue. So if you're not paying for the product, you don't pay for Instagram unless there's different things like
Right,
X
but you're not
plus or
paying for
whatever where you gotta,
Facebook or
yeah.
Instagram
I mean, there's
or
there's those premiums, right? But in general, most users are just it's a free platform. But the reality is that your attention is their product. So they're incentivized to get as much of your attention as possible. So by building in these systems that we talked about, no friction points, variable rewards, all these elements, that's how their business model is going to run.
yeah, to paraphrase the Hunger Games, um, the odds are not in our favor. So, yeah. All right. So we just laid a very depressing component for everybody. Let's switch. Let's think about what can we do in order to make sure that we don't just get lost in scrolling when we don't want to.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things we can do. We can choose to add friction, right? So if the app's not going to build friction for us, we have to create that friction for ourselves so that we have that stopping point that reminds us to move on to something else or choose to continue doing it, but at least it's intentionally a choice, right? So we could go as extreme as removing the apps that take most of our time, just straight up delete them. One thing I did for a while was I actually just chose to log out of them, right? If you're going to engage in it, log in. And then when you're done, log out, which means that when you go back to the app, it actually has to log in for you to be able to use it. And that's a really good reminder to be like, do I really want to go through the action of logging through this for what? Like, what am I looking for? Right. What
Yeah.
else can we do, Kurt?
Well, I think there's you can remove those apps off of the home screen
You can,
and bury them. You can hide them on your phone. There's lots of tools that you can do to do that. Um, there's also this I use Brick, which is a service you buy. Basically, it gives you a magnetic kind of block that they call the brick that, you set up a schedule on your phone, and it limits your access to, uh, whatever sites you want. You can set it up for whatever, and you can set a schedule for that. So between 7 and 8 at night, 7 AM, 8 at night, I can't access these different social media sites unless I go down to the refrigerator in my house where it is, and I gotta put my phone up next to it, and I have to unlock the phone, and then I can. So it's not saying I can't get that ever, and it's not as easy as many of the phone like, there are blockers out there, but you can usually just click through a couple things on your phone to actually, "No, I'm no, yes, I really do wanna do this, right? Do this." So, there's not much friction there. Getting up, walking down to the kitchen,
Mhm.
bringing my phone down there to do that, that creates that friction. So, again, creating those friction points, I think, is really important.
I,
So
I like that. I don't have a brick, but I'm very interested in getting one. And I think that because, like what you said there, you have to be very intentional if you want to break the rules, right? There's so many apps that allow you to set time limits, but it's just a little thing that pops up and says ignore, right? The
yeah,
main
you can
thing you can
ignore
do is
that.
hit ignore, right? That's your action. And you don't have to really, it's not a lot of cognitive effort that goes into pushing that button, right? It's almost automatic in the same way that the countdown on Netflix is. I mean, you do have to actually push it, but it's not
And
it's not
again,
hard.
I mean, we're not being, supported by Brick, but it's a good one, right? If you guys do wanna sponsor us, thank you. But, I mean, there's other ways that you can do that too that may, again, to that point, but you can set up endpoints. So, set a timer. Like, have a timer on your phone, have it be loud, obnoxious so that it goes off. So if you know I'm starting go out on Facebook, whatever it is, I'm gonna do this for 10 minutes. Boom.
Mhm.
Now, again, it's easy to shut that off and just go on, but if you do that, make sure you hit repeat, not end. And again, those are just friction points that they're ending. You can set up when then statements for us. And so again, in Netflix, this is a really good thing. It might be like when a show ends on Netflix, I will get up I will stop, I will pause the show, I will get up, I will walk around the house, and then I will come back. And so then in that time that you're up and walking around, you decide, is it do I really what time is it? Oh my god, it's 10:30, I better go to bed, right? As opposed to just following that there. So,
And I mean, go as far as writing them down, right? Like when I, if then rules, right? If this happens, if Netflix or when Netflix tells me to watch the next episode, I will stand up and go for a 5 minute walk or whatever it is, right? We know that that can improve your ability to actually follow through on it.
and even, like, if we try and again, using, like, some of the habit work that we know, like habits, if we wanna replace a bad habit, so if we just, immediately kinda reach for the phone when we're bored. I'm standing in line, waiting to pick up my coffee, or it's like I just or maybe it's like a little release. Try to set up a different habit that you don't do that. And again, with habits, there's a trigger, there's a cue. Um, and instead of just trying to ignore it, like, oh, I will refuse to go on my phone when I'm bored, replace that. Replace it with something intentional. It's like, okay, so you're not gonna go out on Twitter, you're not gonna go out on Facebook. So what are you gonna do? Is it gonna go for a walk? Are you gonna go play with the dog? You're gonna go maybe it's even something like go to the History Channel, all right,
Mhm.
and look up, something. Make it purposeful, make it positive
Find
for you.
something so boring that you want to turn the TV off and walk away.
Maybe that's it. Oh, yeah. So, I think we can kinda wrap it up there. I mean,
Yeah.
the big piece that, your phone isn't evil, right? And the social media apps in and of themselves, we can go back and forth
That
whether
could be
it's
a very
designed.
long, deep philosophical conversation,
Yeah,
but
we won't go there, but by and large, they're not evil in and of themselves. They're just very, very good at capturing our attention
Mhm.
and doing their job.
Yeah, and their job, like we said, is to keep you engaged as long as humanly possible.
Yeah, so if you want your attention back, you just need to be focused in on that. You have to design for it. You have to set your environment up for it because as we said, the odds are stacked against you. So, because somebody is already designing that attention grabber for you. So, yeah.
Well, I think we have a lot of different actions we can personally take here, and hopefully everybody else has some things that they can take away from this to be more intentional about those decisions.
So, yeah. So go out and make a positive shift by, you know, setting up some friction points as we go forward. So, thank you for listening.